So that brought us actually to our last official day. And we knew it was going to be a full day. We wanted to make the most of it. We had gotten to see Kei Nishikori during the early qualifying, battle his way through a match, and I'd gotten to see Gael Monfils practice on that Tuesday. And so we finally come to our last official day, Sunday the 16th, and still had some folks that we would have loved to have been able to see, watch play, or get the opportunity to meet them, get an autograph. And then my wife said that Gael Monfils was supposed to be on the practice courts at 11. I knew that was a lie because he was out of the tournament already. And she said, yeah, Elina Svitolina is going to be on at 12. And I was like, okay, that I believe. So how could they have gotten the schedule so wrong? He's not in the tournament anymore, and they're not playing doubles until the U.S. Open. So sure enough, we make it to the practice courts and see his name up there with Terrence Attman, hitting with him for the first hour, and then hitting with Elina, his wife, for a second hour. We got to see him do a double up of practice on that first day qualifying was happening, and I just could not believe that I had yet another opportunity to be able to see Gael Monfils. We were trying to see if we could position ourselves to intercept him before he got to the practice courts, but he is definitely a tricky one. It's like, I think they create back ways for them to be able to do stuff, and then when you think you've outsmarted them, he walks right in the front. So we wound up watching him hit with Terrence Attman about halfway through that practice. I think they had maybe one of the ball kids who plays tennis that they had invited to come hit with him. Terrence Attman actually hit with this young man for a little while. It was just a joyous experience to be able to see him make that young man's day, week, life, I don't know. The crowd definitely got into it as well because we knew, oh, this is a big deal for him. And so just to see that Terrence Attman is just that cool of a guy, to sacrifice some of his practice time to hit with this kid was so fantastic. He spent most of the time hitting with Gael, and then when Terrence had to leave the court, there were, of course, a ton of folks trying to get signatures and everything, and then Gael proceeded to hit with Elina for another 30-40 minutes. So my wife and I stayed through both of those sessions to see if I could finally meet Gael Monfils. Yes, I finally got to meet Gael Monfils. It was a joy to finally get to meet my tennis idol. I know they say you should never meet your idols because without fail they do disappoint, but he did not disappoint at all. We sat through 3 or 4 hours of his practices to finally have the opportunity to meet him, but we did. Long last, something that we can check off the list of things to do. I can just watch and pray that they are able to compete as husband and wife at Gael's final Grand Slam tournament, which would be a first for them, and that Elina's ankle heals quickly and that they will be able to participate in the U.S. Open mixed doubles tournament event later this month. With that said, we got to see her practice with him, and how she goes about her practice tells you everything about how she plays. She definitely pushes herself, and apparently she's been doing that for a while, even with an ankle injury. And so after finally getting to meet Gael, we got to our center court seats and watch Ben Shelton play. He brings the energy. Unfortunately, he brought the energy and a loss for this particular outing, but he had just won the tournament in Canada the week before, and so it's not at all surprising that he might not have had enough left in the tank to get another match on. And I know it was disappointing to him, but he definitely brought the energy to be able to lay eyes on him in real time, playing a match, doing Ben Shelton things was fantastic. That match was followed by Elena's match. And so we got to again watch her play because we had seen her play and win the tournament in Chicago. But this time she was up against the teenage Czech phenom Teresa Valentova, and she was bringing it. She was hitting big, and I could tell it was causing Elena a little frustration. And so Teresa took the first set. She also was bringing a lot of energy, so Elena had to muster what she had left in the tank, because she also had been playing in Canada the week before and made it to the semis. And so she'd been playing a lot of tennis lately as well, but she found another gear, pulled out the second set in a tiebreak, and then came out and put on a clinic for the third set. It was quite the way for us to be able to conclude our experience at the Cincinnati Open, watching one of our favorite players pull out a 3-set victory. Again, unfortunately, she was not able to post for the subsequent match and had to withdraw from the tournament with an injury. Again, we pray that she will get better soon so she and Gael can compete as husband and wife at a Grand Slam, which will be his farewell Grand Slam tournament at the U.S. Open. But we shut it down, y'all. We shut it down that last night into that morning. It was well after midnight when things concluded, and we were among the last fans in the stands and on the grounds that night. But there was still one person that we had hoped to be able to talk to and meet in person, and that is the voice of tennis, Andrew Krasny. Andrew had recently lost his father, Dr. Bob. He took time to memorialize his father, came to the Cincinnati Open of 2026 and said that this was going to be the best tournament in dedication to his dad. I had sent him a message on Instagram and said that my wife and I would have hug and condolences for him, and we'd be there for Cincinnati Open 2026. Lo and behold, even after midnight, he was still on the grounds. And while I went to go use the restroom to get ready for our trip back to the hotel, my wife found Andrew Krasny and had him sign a memento, and I actually got to meet him, shake his hand, give him a hug. And individuals like Chanda, Nick, Mohamed Leani, who we also got to meet, and Andrew Krasny give a richness to tennis because of not only the personalities that they are, but how personable they are, sincere, genuine, and warm. Getting to meet the four of them during this tournament was out of this world. And then to be able to meet Gael, see Kani Shikori play, which will likely also be our last opportunity to do that, to be able to meet so many wonderful, not only players, commentators, umpires, announcers, but other fans from all over the globe during this first and one-of-a-kind experience was truly tremendous for us. And so I highly recommend the Cincinnati Open. As we get to more tournaments, I may be able to give that same recommendation for other events, but the Cincinnati Open is absolutely a one-of-a-kind fan and player-oriented event that has spent hundreds of millions of dollars upgrading the facilities so that everyone has a great experience there, from the players to the fans, everybody who has an interaction with any of the phenomenal volunteers, the folks there doing security, the ball kids. Everybody was top notch. We definitely give the Cincinnati Open a thumbs up, and we look forward to making our return there soon. All right. I know this was a long one, but just wanted to share our wonderful Cincinnati Open experience with all of you.